We called our village Snake Village for a reason. Snakes were everywhere. I didn't visit often, but whenever I came back my mom Miranda always looked refreshed. One night, I woke up to strange noises coming from her room. The noises were faint yet somehow filled my mind, hard to ignore. I had never experienced anything like it, but I was old enough to know what was happening inside there. I thought Dad's been away for a few days, what is Mom up to? I decided I'd confront her about it. The sounds continued until dawn. I finally pushed the door open. Mom, are you awake? Miranda quickly pulled the covers over herself. Ruby, what's wrong? Can't sleep. It's nothing, I just saw the light on and wanted to check in, I replied. About to leave when I caught sight of a snake wriggling out from under her covers. It was thick, about the size of my forearm, and patterned with vibrant colors. Ruby, don't touch it, she exclaimed, visibly relieved when I dropped my hand. It'll find its way back to the shrine, she assured me. The shrine? Despite being away from home for so long, I held a certain reverence for that place. Since my earliest memories, the women in our village had flocked to worship there. The elders claimed that only through these rituals could the divine protect us. Of course, after years of education I was skeptical. Yet, there was something undeniably mystical about it. Our village was nestled in a low valley, and no matter the landslides or floods that had occurred over the years, they always seemed to bypass us. But I had never set foot in the shrine myself, and curiosity gnawed at me. Mom, what's really inside the shrine? Miranda fidgeted, her eyes glazed over as she stared dreamily in the shrine's direction. At that moment I couldn't tell if it was out of worship or longing. Is it really that amazing? I pressed. You wouldn't understand once you go. You'll see for yourself, she replied, her tone almost secretive. That night I barely slept, feeling as though a pair of eyes were watching me from under the bed. The next morning, our neighbor Fiona White mentioned that Freya had taken Miranda to the shrine. I hopped on my bike and headed out to find them. On the way I spotted a few unfamiliar women. After chatting I learned they had come from afar, eager to experience the shrine's blessings. Two of them collapsed onto a large rock at the village entrance, looking exhausted. Incredible! I've lived for over 40 years and never felt anything like that, one woman said gladly. As I passed them, I caught a whiff of something distinctly snake-like lingering in the air. I settled down in front of the shrine, which was more of a rundown shack than anything divine. I pulled out my phone and started playing a game, hearing strange noises from inside. Miranda, Ruby's back, should we let her join the coming-of-age ceremony? Freya's voice was sweet, almost teasing. Yeah, but she always says we're stuck in superstition, Miranda replied, her tone light but laced with something deeper. Oh, come on, she's still young. Once she tries it, she won't forget it, Freya insisted, her voice taking on a seductive lilt. I had never heard Miranda speak like this, as if something was tightening around her throat. Look at all these women from out of town. We don't have much time left. Forget Ruby, Miranda murmured. Freya said, yeah, that's true. Miranda, yours looks amazing. Let's swap. Time slipped away, and then the sound echoed softly within the tranquil confines of the shrine. A sleek black python slithered out of the shrine. It paused to glance at me, its forked tongue flicking in and out before it moved on, its scales glistening like wet stone. The shrine's door creaked open, revealing a wave of warm, foul air that nearly made me gag. Miranda emerged in a thin shirt, and she looked completely drained, yet her eyes sparkled with a satisfaction I had never seen before. Hey Ruby, what are you doing here? Freya asked, spotting me. I came to see if you guys were back yet, I replied. Freya wrapped her arms around me, beaming. That's my girl, always looking out for us. Her cheeks were flushed, but her skin felt icy against mine. It was over 86 degrees Fahrenheit outside, yet I could feel a chill emanating from her. The scent that clung to her and Miranda reminded me of the two women I had seen at the village entrance, damp and slightly metallic. As I rode home I found myself holding my breath several times, the air thick with an unsettling odor. It struck me as odd. Miranda and Freya had lived in this village their entire lives, never venturing far beyond its boundaries. They had never had any cosmetic procedures, yet their skin looked impossibly smooth, almost fragile, like it could break with a gentle touch. It had a sickly pale pink hue, delicate and ethereal. Aunt Freya, your skin looks amazing. What's your secret? I asked, genuinely curious. She smiled coyly as if she had a secret she couldn't quite share. After a moment of hesitation, she finally said, Oh Miranda, you should take Ruby to the shrine. This experience shouldn't be exclusive to just us. I turned to Miranda, my eyes wide with curiosity. She leaned against the wall, eyes closed, seemingly lost in thought. She's still young, there's no rush, let's wait a bit longer, Miranda replied, her voice weary. Mom, you both are being so mysterious. What's going on? I'm just a little tired. Honey, we can talk about it later, Miranda murmured, beads of sweat dotting her forehead. I noticed the faint bruises circling her wrists and ankles, and my heart sank. I didn't know what had happened inside the shrine, but those marks filled me with worry. Finally, Miranda opened her eyes. I want to go into the shrine too, Mom. I'm an adult now. According to the rules I should be allowed, right? I said, trying to sound assertive. Freya chimed in, come on Miranda. You should take her in. By the time I was her age, I had already experienced it countless times, but no matter how much Freya pleaded, Miranda was adamant about keeping me out. I could see Freya's expression darkening as she realized Miranda wasn't budging, so she dropped the subject. Just before leaving, Freya added, "If I had a daughter as beautiful as you, I would have taken her in ages ago." She waved at me. "Ruby, come over to my house sometime, there's plenty of fun to be had there." Her last look reminded me of Miranda from last night. I had been asleep when I suddenly heard voices from next door. It sounded like my dad, Joseph, had come home. I caught a snippet of Miranda saying, "Why do you get worse as you get older? Just stop and go catch a snake from the yard." I peered out the window and soon saw Joseph, head down, searching for something in the yard. "Dad, what are you looking for?" He turned to glance at me, momentarily flustered. I was just using the bathroom. You should get some sleep, sweetheart," and with that he hurried off. The next morning it was just Joseph at home. "Where's Mom?" I asked. "She went to the shrine," he replied, busying himself with chores. "Why does she go there every day? What's really inside that shrine?" He shrugged, not looking up from his work. "Just the deity we worship, nothing more. When I was little, I had a high fever because I accidentally wandered into the shrine. There was a massive golden python coiled up inside," I said, trying to gauge his reaction. "Aha," he grunted, still focused on his task. I grabbed his arm, desperate for answers. "Dad, do you ever hear Miranda making those strange sounds? Especially outside the shrine? What are they doing? Who are they worshipping in there?" Joseph seemed taken aback by my barrage of questions, scratching his head and looking at me as if he were lost for words. It dawned on me that no man had ever stepped foot inside that shrine. It was a sacred place for women only. "And what about those snakes? Do you know what they're for? Just now, one slithered into my bed and wrapped around my feet." Joseph's eyes widened in surprise. "Was it a golden one?" "Yes." He began pacing the yard, muttering to himself, "Looks like the time has finally come." "What are you talking about, Dad?" "Oh." He turned his gaze toward the direction behind me, his expression suddenly mysterious and unsettling. "Dad." Following his line of sight, I turned around and saw a shadow at my window. A muscular figure loomed there, resembling a hulking man, staring straight at me. "Who's that?" I bolted back into my room, heart racing. Joseph chased after me, shouting, Don't go near it." But I couldn't stop myself. I flung the door open, and what greeted me was not a man but a massive golden python standing upright. Its scales shimmered like the one I had seen as a child in the shrine, and its crimson eyes were filled with a sinister hunger. Without a word, Joseph grabbed my arm and yanked me outside. "Come on." I pulled away from him, confused. "Dad, what are you doing?" His face was grave. "You wanted to go to the shrine, right? Well, I'm taking you there." On the way, Joseph remained silent, his head bowed. Apart from the 2 cigarettes he smoked, no matter what I said, he offered no response. The night stretched endlessly, the path seeming slippery beneath my feet as if treading on something unseen. Outside the shrine, Joseph sat by the entrance, a cigarette dangling from his lips. "You go on in. Your mom's waiting inside," he said, his voice tinged with an odd detachment. Just beyond the threshold, a crimson thread marked the boundary where only women were permitted. As I crossed the line, a chorus of voices filled the air. I hesitated, stepping back, and the noise faded to nothingness under Joseph's watchful gaze. I pressed on towards the shrine. The night cloaked the shrine in an eerie, almost serpentine majesty, its roofline weaving shadows like intertwining serpents. At the entrance I saw a woman wrapped in 2 large, colorful snakes. My sanity wavered. I was uncertain if my eyes deceived me. As I rubbed them, the sounds within abruptly ceased. The window reflected a woman suspended in an inverted pose, akin to an advanced yoga stance, but closer scrutiny revealed it was no yoga strap. It was a golden serpent coiling around her. I spun to leave but heard Miranda's voice. Swallowing hard, I cautiously pushed open the shrine door. I called hesitantly, "Mom, are you in there?" "I'm coming in."